This is a piece from Unamerican, a future memoir project something that I worked on after being asked to testify by the Army against my ex-husband for white supremacy. And I thought, I'm gonna have to write my whole story again, because I had already written about growing up in the cult and going into the cult of the Army, looking at groups. But realized I was gonna have to look a lot more inward. You get signed copies of Uncultured attached here, or listen to me read it to you. This is a chapter called White Privilege, Bagram, 2014. I'm at work in the Tactical Operations Center, where the operations and intelligence cells work side by side. Our days are usually filled with innocuous banter, but for some reason, the conversation has turned serious today. "Come on, ma'am," my friend, Chief Warrant Officer 3, Andrew Sims, says with his loud, booming voice. "You, of all people, should know there's no such thing as white privilege." Several of the lieutenant mafia, sensing a good debate about to commence, wander over. "What do you mean by white privilege?" I ask. It's not a term I'm familiar with, but I can already sense I'm about to disagree with whatever Sims says next. "You know," he says, "this ridiculous idea that somehow, because we are white people, we had a leg up in life and never had to work hard for anything. I mean, I came from nothing, joined the Army at 17 as an infantry ground pounder, and I pulled myself up from there, literally by my bootlaces. I was always ready. I always had a bag packed. I was given opportunities because I worked hard. You know what I mean. You came from worse than I did." I'm silent for a long moment, feeling eerily similar to the way I'd felt in Ms. Mill's high school classroom when she said that missionaries were agents of imperialism. And even though I didn't yet understand all the details, I knew in my bones that it was true. I know that he's worked his butt off to change his stars, and that I've worked even harder. I also know there's more to it than just our elbow grease. Looking at him, blonde, tall, muscular, handsome, it's easy to see that he'd been handed opportunities for reasons other than simply merit. Being a man in the Army, for one, had given him opportunities denied to others, to me, on the basis of something none of us could control. I write in Uncultured about being one of the first women on a deliberate ground combat team, because, we were banned. And I know I've had unfair advantages too, which were completely separated from all my hardships, from how hard I'd had to work. Finally, I have a term for what I'd been seeking to put my finger on for 11 years. Why I was given so many chances in this country. Why I was always treated so much better than I thought I deserved. It's also why people seem so upset when I turn out to be different than they expected. When I don't meekly play the role of the WASP girl they were expecting. Why they are so confused when they realize my identity is way more complicated than that. In this moment, I know deep down, in places I'd never had the language to acknowledge before, that if I had looked or sounded as Brazilian as I sometimes feel, if my skin had been olive-toned like my Hungarian father instead of the snow white of my Slovakian mother, or if I had been the shape and color of my childhood best friend, Michaela, that I would have been treated much, much differently. Now, looking back, I can see in an instant that has always been true, since the day I'd set foot in America, all dazed and confused, which is the name of my chapter about dropping into high school. I'd struggled, yes, but when I'd pulled myself up by those bootlaces, people were standing there holding the door open for me. Nobody was trying to shut it in my face or bar me from advancing. I know that plenty of other people, like my friend Nina, like my boyfriend Greg, probably couldn't say the same. I scan the other faces in the crowd, the lieutenant mafia and the soldiers who work for me, a group of people I'd started to trust with some of my stories. I can tell that they all expect me to agree with Andrew, to affirm that white privilege couldn't possibly exist, because here I am, the least privileged person among them, someone who came from the hardest things they could imagine and became a great success, a captain in the United States Army, respected, maybe even loved, by my peers and soldiers. As nice as that idea sounds, that I'd worked for everything I had, that I'd been given nothing, I know it for the lie it is. No, I'm sorry, I finally say in reply. I'm not familiar with white privilege as a term, so I'll definitely be doing more research. But I can list at least 10 times that my life has been easier than it would have been because I'm a pretty white girl. And like all truths, this one is complicated. My life has also been hard in other ways because of the same thing. Now, despite war and danger and tragedy, nope, that's where we're going to stop for now. Stay tuned. Or you can check out the 6-hour preview of Un-American, the video book, in the Patreon.